At number 5, Ola Hansen Lena Tessano here in Accra. I am Charles Osukumi. Coming up. NIMOS dismantles operation of notorious Galamsey site, popularly known as Yellowface, at Wassa, Abresia in the Western region. Also coming up, Ghana Police Service denies claims of failing to provide medical care for an injured officer.
For the amputation of the leg, they objected, and they said they wanted to take him for another treatment as well, which the doctors allow this patient to be taken.
Still on the Channel 1 Newsroom, Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagban calls for deliberate focus in 2026 budget to protect Ghana from recurring economic crisis.
The policies contained in this budget must steer us away from dependency towards a resilient, domestically driven economy. Honorable members, data tells a clear and urgent story.
And later, authorities call for immediate government assistance at Numresu Basic School in the Amansia Central District of the Ashanti region as the school reels under infrastructure and resource challenges.
We also plead with the government that most of the infrastructure that are being provided here were provided by the communities. It is the strength and the toil of the communities that highlighted or that brought about this infrastructure. So we are also appealing to the government to also come in our aid.
I'm grateful to you for a time here on the Channel 1 Newsroom. Here now are the details of our stories, and we begin with the Ghana Police Service. The service has firmly dismissed social media allegations claiming it failed to provide medical care to an officer injured in an accident. Inspector General of Police Christian Tete Yohunum says the assertions made in a viral video are false. More in this report. Video circulating online shows a police officer appealing for help, alleging, among other things, that he has been abandoned by the police administration following his accident.
I picked phone and called my staff officer and informed him that this is my situation. When I refused amputation, I was discharged, so I'm taking care of myself in the house. But everything, every medication I buy, every drug, we take a receipt for it. The next second, he sent the phone to my director. Then my instruction to my hearing was that if I bring any receipt without prescription, it's not accepted, or he's not going to sign. Which you saw my condition, you knew it. That he boldly told me when I bring any receipt without prescription, he was not going to sign. At that time, if there was something closer, I would have done to myself.
However, the police administration has strongly rebutted the claims. Addressing sections of the media, IGP Christian Tete Yohunum described the allegations as unfortunate and maintained that the officer has not been neglected. He explained that the officer discharged himself from the police hospital after declining a medically recommended leg amputation.
The doctors recommended that to save the situation means the leg would have been amputated at below the knee, the knee level. Before even they will do that, they will let you know, and then get the consent of you, the patient, and the family. But they objected for the amputation of the leg. They objected, and they said they wanted to take him for another treatment as well, which the doctors allow this patient to be taken. And so in the course of they going to look for other herbal or other treatment, either herbal or spiritual treatment, it was not yielding results, and then the foot was getting
Now, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS Task Force, conducted a dawn operation at an illegal mining site known as Yellowface at Wassa Abresia in the Western region. The unexpected arrival of the task force caused miners at the site to flee in an attempt to avoid arrest. Officers moved in to dismantle the operation, burning makeshift structures and equipment believed to be used for illegal mining. During the raid, the team also discovered significant quantities of illicit drugs and dynamite, highlighting the scale of criminal activity taking place at the site. NIMOS says similar targeted operations will continue in the coming days and weeks as part of efforts to disrupt illegal mining and curb the associated drug menace. Away from that, a firefighter from the Ghana National Fire Service was stabbed while responding to a fire at Adjingano on Friday. The blaze destroyed a two-story, 8-room building. Reinforcement teams from the Medina National Fire Headquarters, from the Medina headquarters of the fire service and Adenta fire stations, supported by a private water tanker, were deployed to secure enough water and bring the fire under control. For more on the attack on the firefighter, we are joined by the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, DO2 Desmond Aka. Good evening to you, sir. I'm grateful to you for your time here on the Channel 1 Newsroom. Can you please provide more details on the circumstances that led to the firefighter being stabbed during a firefighting mission?
Well, so let me say a very good evening to your cherished viewers. It's quite unfortunate that yesterday one of our gallant firefighters had to suffer some stab wounds from a member of the crowd who had gathered at the fire scene. What happened was that when we got to the scene, we had to do our assessment and to ensure that properties and lives were saved. So in the course of doing that, the crowd that had gathered to kind of observe what was going on were like trying to enter into the affected premises to go and steal. So in the process of our men trying to prevent them from entering the said structure, somebody from within the crowd, went behind the said officer and wanted to stab his abdomen. So in the process, he used his left arm to block, and then he suffered some deep wounds, which we had to rush him to the Unity Clinic at Medina, where he was treated and discharged. As at this afternoon, when we spoke with him, he's doing well and recuperating steadily. We hope that he gets well soon to join us to be able to do what we are known best in doing. And one other person also, because of the intensity of the fire, one of the structures, the block work also fell, and then it hit his left shoulder. So we also had to send him to the hospital where he was also treated and discharged. He's also doing well. We are praying that he also gets back on his feet so that we can serve the good people of Ghana. But we are seriously looking for the third person who did the harm to our man. And we have made a formal complaint to the police, whilst we are also liaising with a assembly member of the area to assist us to arrest that individual and to bring him to book so as to serve as a deterrent to others who may want to tread on that dangerous ground. I must be quick to add that it is not our fault. We do not set the fire, but we only come in to help. So when we come in and we are doing our lawful duty, what in the world would happen or would come to the minds of people to be able to go to the extent of harming us and to kind of prevent us from doing our lawful duty? So we would want to assure the public that we would get this person arrested and then bring him to book so that these things will not continue to happen as in time past we have been witnessing.
Okay, it looks as if these attacks on fire officers is becoming quite frequent. Going forward, how is the service working to ensure the safety of its officers as they continue to fight fires?
Well, so we will continue to collaborate with the Ghana police. We know some of the hot spots that normally we are faced with some of these challenges. So as and when we get the feed that we are going to be attacked, quickly we would let in the police. It's quite unfortunate that this particular attack happened before the police arrived. And therefore, going forward, I think we would have to call them as soon as practicable so that they could come in and then secure the safety of our men while we do our lawful duty at fire and related emergencies.
All right, sir. I'm grateful to you. DO to Desmond Aka. He's the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service. You're still watching the Channel 1 Newsroom here on Channel 1 TV. Still ahead. Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagben calls for deliberate focus in 2026 budget to protect Ghana from recurring economic crisis. We have details in a bit. Please stay with us.
Hey, Ghana. So you people know Miss Brother Man Small. It be me, it's your boy. Kill them all, kill them all. But this time, I'm not only killing mosquitoes, I am killing the great. See? This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have the perfect mosquito-free atmosphere. Thank you, Out Insecticide. And yeah, Out Mosquito Coil. For a mosquito-free atmosphere, trust Out to... You are not serious.
Out Insecticide. So ya boa, faha.
This tote pays 3 salaries. This book keeps 2 children in school. This cream supports 5 households. Every product creates a job.
Afro quality. Buy African, build Africa.
Kache, I didn't know when this assassin.
But I say, if one the home for Sonia, Emperor and fear.
Na I won't hear you. And I didn't tell me in fear.
Kasame to me a man and your best way, who bet to me a cool. Mr. Davy!
Yeah, welcome back. This is the Channel 1 Newsroom here on Channel 1 TV. Let's now head to Parliament. The Speaker of the House, Alban Gbagben, says the 2026 budget must focus on breaking Ghana's recurring cycle of economic crisis. The Speaker says the policies outlined in the policy document must shift the country from dependence towards a domestically driven economy capable of sustaining long-term growth. He made the remarks during a post-budget workshop for members of Parliament here in Accra. Channel 1 News' parliamentary correspondent Ni Ayikwe Okaim reports.
Following the presentation of the 2026 budget statement by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, to Parliament on Thursday, members of Parliament attended a post-budget workshop on Saturday to deepen their understanding and enhance their scrutiny of the national budget. In his address, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagben, stressed that the 2026 budget must focus on breaking Ghana's recurring cycle of economic challenges.
A common refrain echoes across Africa, and I quote, "Africa is not poor. It is poorly managed, and the budget is the clearest expression of that management," unquote. At this pivotal moment, Our budget must serve as a primary instrument for transforming Ghana's economic paradigm. It is our sovereign roadmap to self-reliance. The policies contained in this budget must steer us away from dependency towards a resilient, domestically driven economy. Honorable members, data tells a clear and urgent story. Reform cannot wait.
Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyakon Ampem assured that the budget is designed to ensure that the economic progress achieved over the past 10 months translates into prosperity for Ghanaians.
The 2026 budget builds on the stability of 2025 and channels it into action that delivers more jobs, better infrastructure, stronger industries, and better public services. Our request for approval is driven by the progress made over the past 10 months, including GDP growth increasing from 5.3% in 2024 to 6.3% in the first half of 2025, driven by strong performance in services, agriculture, and construction. The impacts of the measures Parliament approved early this year is being felt by businesses and households. The rally call is for government to turn this new stability into prosperity, and this budget seeks to do exactly that.
Deputy Minority Leader Patricia Piaget urged lawmakers to scrutinize the budget devoid of partisanship in order to achieve a balanced, just and people-centered budget responsive to the needs of the public.
Let us engage in a spirit of learning, collaboration, and service. Let us move beyond party lines to focus on what truly matters. How this budget will impact the everyday lives of our people and the sustainability of our national finances. At the end of this process, what will matter most in our collective input that helped shape a budget that is more balanced, more just, and more responsive to the needs of Ghanaians.
For his part, Deputy Majority Leader Kweku Ricketts-Hagan called for a thorough examination of the policy document to ensure value for money and equitable allocation of resources across all sectors of the economy.
We as parliamentarians must therefore scrutinize the budget thoroughly, ensuring that allocations are equitable, realistic, and results-oriented. But as we perform this duty, we must also recognize that Parliament and the Executive share common responsibility to deliver development, create opportunities, and ensure value for money in the use of public resources.
Let's stay with the 2026 budget statement. We've been joined via Zoom by Member of Parliament for Ekumfi, Dr. Othniel Ekokwenu, to help us digest the budget a bit more. Grateful to you, sir, for your time here on the Channel One Newsroom. First of all, the budget was presented on Thursday. What is your initial thinking about this budget that's been presented by the Finance Minister?
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me. I think the budget that was presented by the Finance Minister, for me, it's one of a budget that inspires hope in the people. And of course, the reason why I say that is every budget is expected to respond to the needs of a country. And if you look at the tenets of the budget that was presented, literally every sector of the economy was tackled head on. And I believe that coming from the background of the 2025 budget, where he indicated his desire and his effort to basically correct the macros in the country, today we can clearly see where the macros are. The country has turned the corner quite well, and we're on a path of recovery. In the past, there was discussion around macroeconomic issues in terms of all the indicators. Today, the story has changed. The macros are positive, and it's time to translate those gains we have made on the macros into the micro, where the citizens begin to benefit from the impact of this hard work that the minister has done. So for me, if I look at the tenets and the contents of the budget, it only inspires hope. And I believe that going forward, we will see a lot of significant benefits to the people of Ghana and also to everyone on the whole.
Honorable, let's look at some of the critical issues facing this country. For example, unemployment. We know that some people have attributed the very high unemployment rates among the youth for the high numbers of persons who are interested in joining, say, the military, leading to the disaster that we saw at Elwak. How does this budget address the concerns of unemployment?
Well, thank you very much once again. This budget, as it stands, pointed to the creation of about 800,000 jobs, as it were, from various sectors. If you look at the discussion around the big push, it's expected that all these road constructions that will be done would create quite a sizable amount of jobs for our teeming youth. But what for me is more even interesting is on the agricultural sector. Clearly, if you look at the informal sector, the agricultural sector continues to be the heartbeat of Ghana's economy. Today, if you look at the impact of food prices, which has seen a growth of about 2.9% to 6%, and the investment that government looks to put into the agricultural sector, you can see clearly that they have underscored the need for us to develop agriculture to a point where our teeming youth who are literally working in that sector will have hope in order to be able to live a life which is worthy. Now, why do I say so? In this budget, you can clearly see that government has seen, for instance, the palm plantations, that Ghana as a country imports about 200 million tons of oil palm into this country. And for a record, Ghana was one of the countries that started planting palm in this country. But for some reason, our approach towards it has not really helped us. And that is why government has seen a reason to get a loan of $500 million in cedi equivalent, basically as a fund to help the youth to go into agriculture and also basically into power. I, as an MP in the Kumfi, for the most of the last 2 months, have been donated even seedlings up to 35,000 to my people, because I'm working in tandem with that vision of government, so that by the time the realization of this dream happens, my people basically will benefit from it. Beyond that, we have learned from a large time growing up how Ghana's farming has basically been on a subsistence scale. Today, we are talking about modernizing it. That's why you see in the budget that the government is talking about farming centers. And it's also showed us the kind of equipment that they are looking to put in these farming centers to help farmers to basically do larger scale farming. And to a large extent, when these things happen, to translate into the building of factories, agro-processing, and also the processing of our goods for exports. Again, if you look at the buffer stock, which has had issues in recent times, government has made it clear that it's also going to put about 200 million to buy produce from farmers. And all these things basically will help the farming industry to be able to grow. And so far, from what we have seen, from a growth of 2.9 to 6%, you can clearly see that it will create quite a sizable amount of jobs, especially in that sector. And for me, I think that all these decisions that government has taken, especially in the agricultural sector, for me, gives me a lot of comfort, because looking at my own constituency, farming remains a very important factor in our socio-economic lives.
Okay.
Therefore, if government is doing that for us, for me, I think it's one thing that I really want to commend government. And I believe that there should be more investment into the agricultural sector, because today it's been a big influence on our inflation, on our exchange rate, and literally on the producer price of everything in Ghana. So for me, the agricultural side of things remains key for me.
Honorable, finally, before you go, your colleagues on the opposite side, they describe this budget as a galamsey budget. I mean, also they say the economic growth we're witnessing is based off the foundations built by the Akufo-Addo government. Quickly, your thoughts before you go.
Well, it's not for me to say, but the reality is there for everybody to check. I mean, if you leave an economy that left inflation around 23%, seen a high of about 54%, an exchange rate which was touted, one of the worst we've seen today is one of the best, and all the indicators, I mean, interest rates touching from 28%, today we are doing 10.9. It's not for me to say. It's a reality that is on the ground. Everybody sees the hard work that this finance minister and President Mahama have put in trying to get this economy to rebound. And I believe that they have set the tone for greater works going into 2026. And I believe that every Ghanaian who cares about this country and wants this country to do well, and the youth of this country, and also about their future, for me, should rather focus on giving all the support to this government, and also pray for them so that all the good things that they have sent in this budget will come to a reality. Because at the end of the day, this will benefit not only us as maybe politicians or member of parliament, but clearly will benefit the whole of Ghana. And I believe that it's a good sign for everybody to follow.
Grateful to you, sir. Dr. Othniel Ekokweno, the Member of Parliament for Ekumfi. You're also watching the Channel 1 Newsroom here on Channel 1 TV. Let's focus on some other stories now. And some markets analysts are calling on the Bank of Ghana to further cut the average lending rates of commercial banks, arguing that the current rates remain too high and could discourage women from accessing credit. Their concerns come in the wake of the 2026 budget statement and economic policy, which allocates 401 million Ghana cedis to the newly approved Women's Development Bank to provide affordable financing for small businesses, particularly those owned by women traders and market operators.
The Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, announced that the long-awaited Women's Development Bank will officially be established next year. He explained that the initiative is part of broader efforts to strengthen women's economic empowerment and enhance the growth of women-led SMEs, enabling them to contribute more significantly to national development. Speaking on the big issue on City FM and Channel 1 TV, Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji, head of finance at Merban Capital, urged the central bank to consider lowering the average lending rate to boost access to credit.
If we don't restructure this one in a way to avoid this kind of behavior, then the Women's Development Bank will also suffer the same fate. Now, the rate that the banks will give to the women will be much more higher than what the government will give to them through the development bank. But I think that the whole concept, the whole idea of empowering market women, women who are having SMEs, is a very fantastic idea. Let me tell you something. During the election time, a lady approached me. She told me that she operates, what's the name? A laundry. And she needs just to replace washing machines because the ones that she's using, they are actually obsolete. I was like, okay. Then she wants to go to the banks and borrow because she doesn't have money. But the rate that the banks were quoting, I mean, she can't pay. So these are the people who actually need this money from the Women's Development Bank.
Financial analyst Toma Emi here called on government to manage public expectations carefully.
The speed at which the current government is bringing us out to the hole is very impressive. But you see, as they say, Rome was not built in a day. It's going to take us quite some time to get out of this situation we're in. It's going to take quite some more time to create the jobs we need. This is not something that one budget can solve. So I think right now what we should be thinking about most is managing expectations. Managing expectations.
President of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, observed that government debt recovery efforts have progressed at a relatively fast pace.
We are not rejoicing, over rejoicing, but we're actually saying that this gentleman came and said, look, first of all,
Also, yeah, local. Let's write the figures. So they are going to write the figures before they give you the money. As I understand, Agenda 1.1 alone, 100 million Ghana cedis was wasted on mobilization. Not a single project has been constructed. What is this? And I think it's important to also make the point that, look, even though we realize that, the last administration also took us off from the IMF I think 2019, and they promised a number of things to do.
Technical advisor at the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Theo Echampon, said government will introduce strict checks and balances to uphold fiscal discipline.
What I'm trying to make here is that what do you do now in terms of the controls that you have to ensure prudence? And yes, the finance ministry, the finance minister Ato, is doing his absolute best to ensure that you're putting in place some safeguards. So within this current budget, for example, there's a lot of talk about commitment controls and a lot of talk about you cannot spend on certain projects if you don't have, for example, the authorization or the commitment that allows you to be able to do that.
The Member of Parliament for Guan, Fred Agbenyo, defended the budget, describing it as a robust blueprint for economic transformation.
When I hear the argument that we are not spending money, so look, for the first time in Ghana's history, common fund allocation to these assemblies, this government took a very bold decision and said that whenever money is allocated, 80% of that money must go to the assembly. There's no single assembly in Ghana today that you go into the account, the list that you don't see more than 5 million Ghana cedis sitting in the account, so that they can use it for local development. Let the people themselves determine the things that they want to do. Either two people sit in Accra and impose projects, impose markets, impose a school, impose whatever it is on the people. Now we want the people themselves to lead their own development. And since we took office, we have since paid the first quarter, we have paid the second quarter, the third quarter has just been paid. We have been very, very consistent.
The New Patriotic Party's Director of Communications, Richard Ahiangba, rejected claims that the current administration inherited a distressed economy.
When we came into office in 2017, the growth we inherited was 3.4. The following year, that grew by 8.1%. The economy expanded by 8.1%. And I think 2018, about 6.3 or 6.5, 6.2. And then in 2019, again, 6.5.
Yes.
You understand? In 2019, in particular, this country surpassed Nigeria in terms of foreign direct investment. Is that the economy they are talking about, pre-existing condition, and that economy was collapsing on its own before COVID 2020? Is that economy they are talking about?
On the recent military recruitment stampede that resulted in 6 deaths and several injuries, retired Brigadier General Robert Ofei-Saki said the tragedy at the Elwak Sports Stadium during the GAF enlistment exercise could have been prevented.
We should look at the practical approach, how it happened, and whether this method of recruitment is still what we should pursue. There are so many ways of going about it, but I won't go into the details. Once people are dead, we all console ourselves and mourn them. But there are so many mistakes that we've all committed. And then we tend to put the blame on one section of our society.
This is still the Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 TV. Still ahead. Authorities call for immediate government assistance at Numreso Basic School in Namanse Central District of the Central Region reels under infrastructure and resource challenges. The Channel 1 Newsroom will be back in a bit. Please stay with us.
Hey, Ghana, so you people know Miss Brother once more. If you knew, It's your boy. Kill them all, kill them all. But this time, I'm not only killing mosquitoes, I am killing the grades. See? This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have the perfect mosquito-free atmosphere. Thank you, Out Insecticide. And yeah, Out Mosquito Coil. For a mosquito-free atmosphere, trust Out too. You are not serious.
Out Insecticide. So ya boa, faha.
Catch me. I didn't know when this assassin.
But I say, if one the home for Sonia, Emperor and fear.
Ah, na won him. And he didn't name fear.
Asemi to me a man and your best way. Who bet to me a cool. Mr. Debbie.
This November, something amazing is coming to Accra. Are you a farmer with fresh produce? Are you into fish farming, poultry or livestock? Then get ready for the November edition of the AgriFair 2025. Yes, AgriFair 2025. It's happening on Friday the 28th to Sunday the 30th of November. It's happening at the A4 Southern Children's Park and it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. It's the ultimate weekend marketplace. From fruits and vegetables to poultry, livestock and fish to agro-inputs and processing machinery. All at unbeatable farm gate prices. Whether you're selling or buying, this is your chance to connect, trade and grow. Enjoy the freshest farm produce, sizzling kebabs, and a vibrant marketplace atmosphere all in one space. Register now and secure your spot. Call 0558-973-973 for more information. AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation. The AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Horticulture Business Platform, Development Bank Ghana, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, Gressol, and the Ghana Exim Bank.
Thank you for staying with us here on the Channel 1 Newsroom. Now, authorities at Newsroom Basic School in the Amansia Central District of the Ashanti region are appealing to the government to urgently address critical challenges affecting teaching and learning. Their concerns include poor network connectivity, a shortage of teachers, and the stalled Teachers Bungalow project initiated by local chiefs. Headmaster Francis Oseado says the lack of network access is greatly impeding ICT education, while the absence of decent accommodation for teachers continues to undermine academic work. There's more in this report filed by our Ashanti Regional Correspondent Tawfiq Mohammed and read by Manuel Ayama.
Sustainable Development Goal 4 promotes inclusive and equitable quality education, but Newsroom Basic School is struggling to meet this standard. The school remains deprived of essential learning resources, especially in ICT, due to the absence of network connectivity, an issue that hinders students' competitiveness in today's digital age. A visit by Channel 1 News revealed that one of the primary school blocks is in a deplorable state and requires immediate renovation. The weakened structure poses a serious safety risk to pupils who study there. Speaking to Channel 1 News, Headmaster Francis Oseado stressed that addressing these challenges would greatly enhance academic performances.
We also plead with the government that most of the infrastructure that are being provided here were provided by the communities. It is the strength and the toil of the communities that highlighted or that brought about this infrastructure. So we are also appealing to the government to also come in our aid to help us so that the infrastructure that will be provided will be a modern one for all of us.
In an interview with City News, the representative of the area's chief, Nana Kofi Jan, Charles Jemfi, also underscored the urgent need for additional teachers and accommodation facilities. He called on the government to complete the ongoing Teachers Bungalow project to support effective teaching and learning.
You see a school, no? Yeah. A teacher for every baby or bobeda. Yeah. The same to a minor far to Yamoso. Yeah. Up a dying. You see a way your bosso. Yeah. The Akaria more than asa. Yeah. The Sra buying. Yeah. Sren Bebri, open and Nimmer Sucrudiano. Yeah. No one more. Yeah. The teacher for one so bar. Yeah. Omonia baby do Mutirato. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Also much lecture for some room. Yeah. They see our schools, you could tell Quadabaya or Quab Hamiru. Yeah. A teacher for 9 pay. Yeah. And the could tell him to almost all bread. Yeah. It is Rabbi of a teacher for be Mecaho. Yeah. Na one way, a pound so a befast so you bring your baby more or Mutirato. Yeah. The mention the Sidano, ya bosso, yeah. A BBA. Yeah. The Academy, ya who are the conform. Yes, Rabbi. So Meboy, let me be entry my.
Let's now head to the Volta region. Now, that region's reputation as one of Ghana's emerging tourism destinations continue to grow as more communities unearth hidden cultural treasures and sacred landmarks that could transform their local economies. The Dodome enclave in the Whole West District has joined this expanding tourism wave with the opening of an ancestral village dating back to the 1920s. Perched some 650 meters above sea level, the historic Dodome Toji settlement, once the ancestral home of the people of Dodome, has been restored and opened to the public for the very first time. Channel 1 News' Volta regional correspondent Desmond Salasiago visited the site and has more in this report.
For decades, the site lay deserted, the residents were forced to relocate to harsh living conditions and poor accessibility. But today, community elders and youth are working together to breathe new life into their heritage, transforming the abandoned settlement into a center of learning, culture, and tourism. The journey to the ancestral village atop the Dodome mountain takes about an hour and a half, a climb that rewards visitors with breathtaking panoramic views of large valleys, rolling hills, and distant settlements that seem to fade into the cloud. John Bosco Deble, an elder of the Dodome, said the decision to open the site is not only to promote tourism, but also to preserve and share the community's origin with future generations.
L'homme peut talk pour la force. Aïe, Ghana va pas reporter à placer. On va pas elle va jouer au diable. Et tiens, au soukou, il y a un vieux temps. Abdou dit à quoi au soukou, t'es fait fort. À quel niveau soukou, mais le Américain m'a pas tout y dire. Abadou soukou, yo. Pays, mais yade. Mia doit faire beji. Abak pas mi à toi, boube, après deux, mais qu'on non. A fini de bois, mais à quoi là. Nous courons yo que non. Mi à toi, boube, le toit, il est fier. Abe, ame coucou, Daka, allez. Ekpere de kui awodo ko nye tupani ele nuvo vole ekpe wodo ku adito ele abanu yo pute anye tarifa tokao le tukosi.
Assembly member for the Dodome electoral area, Innocent Adeputo, also appealed for government and private sector support to redevelop the area. He believes improved facilities and infrastructure will make the site a major attraction in the Volta tourism corridor.
It's not easy to climb this mountain, but they try come here. So we are calling to the NGO and government to come and help us so that maybe in future coming to the mountain will be easier for us and we can have the visitors to visit our place. Investors can come and put up maybe guest house, restaurant, so that if people come, people visit the place to witness what we are missing first. They can lodge here. Maybe some people can try to lodge here before visiting the places. So if investors can come to our aid to put up restaurant, guest house, or hotels, it will help us.
Residents share the same sentiment. They say the current poor road network makes it difficult for visitors to reach the site, hindering the full potential of what would be a vibrant tourism economy for the enclave.
We believe that if we open up this to tourists, it will help us, because definitely they are coming to have a sight view, and they are not going to do it free of charge. Definitely, we expect that whatever that we get out of that sightseeing will be a benefit to the community. In fact, we cannot get to that place without an access road. You realize that it is very difficult to climb, do the hiking up there. But we believe that if there is an access road, many tourists will be able to have access to the site. They should try and then assist us because the road network leading to where we identify these tourism potentials is very bad. We need some kind of access road to the place so that when we write officially, they should quickly attend to us so that we identify the places and we can develop our tourism center.
During the recent Dodoma Gaji Festival, the paramount chief of the Dodoma traditional area, Togbe Pang Patriku IV, renewed calls for government intervention to construct access roads and support community-led tourism development.
I wish to appeal the district, regional and national authorities to do something urgently about our deplorable feeder road, linking our 4 communities on the other side of the mountain.
Residents here in Dodoma are calling for the construction of a road leading to their new tourist site to enable tourists to visit the area. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I am the Sponsor Sam.
Now, calm has been restored to the Gulumpe community in the Kintampo North municipality of the Bono East region, where the Gunja and Kokuma youth have reconciled following recent clashes. The peace restoration, which comes after weeks of tensions and a government-imposed curfew, reflects a renewed pledge by both groups to resolve their differences through dialogue and to protect their lasting harmony in the community. Channel 1 News' Bono regional correspondent Michael Sapong-Ifum reports.
After days of arrest that left at least 3 people injured, normalcy has returned to the Gulupe community in the Kintampo North municipality of the Bono East region. The disturbance began as a disagreement between some Gonja and Kokoma youth over loading charcoal onto a truck. What started as a minor disturbance quickly escalated into violent clashes with gunshots reportedly fired. The 3 injured individuals were treated and discharged from the Kintampo Municipal Hospital. To contain the situation, the Ministry of Interior imposed a curfew on October 21, 2025. The restrictions were lifted on November 4 after community leaders assured authorities that peace had been restored. Both factions later converged at a joint endeavor to smoke the peace pipe, a symbolic act sealing the end of hostilities.
There are many channels to settle your conflicts. Among the youth, we can gather around to settle conflicts. Among our elderly, our fathers and mothers, we can settle down to settle these conflicts. Chiefs can come in. But if it is beyond all these people, please, there is a legitimate law enforcement institutions that take over from us. Let's report our problems to the police and sit back and watch them to solve them for us.
To the good people of Gulumpe, I urge you to engage one another in good faith, especially on matters that stir emotion. And every society, difference will exist, but how we resolve those differences speaks volumes about our values and maturity. After today's drama, let Gonja friends visit Kokoma homes in peace. Let us revive the bonds of friendship through our security forces. I sincerely extend heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the Kokoma fraternity to you all for the good job you did. Your professionalism and selfless service over the past few weeks have been instrumental in maintaining peace and order in this area.
The presiding member of the Kintampo North Municipal Assembly, Muzu Sedu Harrison, appealed for calm across the municipality to foster development.
That let's cooperate with one another. Let's not always based on tribalism. Tribalism does not take us to any place. The way we do live together should continue like that.
Now, in the spirit of using sports for the common good, a naval officer is attempting a 3.1-kilometer open water swim to help raise funds for an initiative by the Chief of Defense Staff to build a center for children with special needs and empower women to showcase their resilience. AB2 Precious Sarah Akuto is attempting a daring swim from Busia to Aboko Islands in the Western region this November to support the initiative. Speaking to Channel 1 News Western Bureau Chief, AB2 Akuto appealed to the public to donate and support the challenge aimed at putting smiles on the faces of children with special needs.
The Ghana Navy, since its establishment, has been known for its excellent work of protecting Ghana's territorial waters from any threat coming from the Atlantic Ocean. But today, the Navy is working to change that narrative or expand that narrative by engaging more societal relevant initiatives. And that is why we are here at the Western Naval Command here in Sekondi. 23-year-old able seaman class 2 Akuto Sarah Precious of the Naval Logistics Command in Takoradi is attempting a record 3.1-kilometer non-stop swim, an effort driven by her desire to contribute to a worthy cause. She explains why she has taken on this challenge.
My CDSS hosts a DEBA with initiative of building a project for special kids with special needs. So I heard of it and that thing encouraged me because I was having one senior lady at work who has a challenged child. Sometimes I feel he's not okay when she's at work. Her mind is at home thinking about everything. So I thought as much that I can do something to raise some funds to support my CDSS project so that my senior lady can benefit. So I promised myself and I had a dream to set a record in raising funds with swimming in a distance of 3.1 kilometers in Busia Beach to the Aboko Island, which is not a normal swimming, but a swimming with heavy waves, heavy currents, but I'll force as much as I can to get to the island and back to set a record and also raising funds to support my CDS project.
I asked her what motivates her to take on such a demanding task.
What motivated me to embark on this journey is since I was born and when I was young, I used to love kids a lot. So I promised myself I would do something to make kids laugh in my own strength, not even money, but I will use my skills to make people laugh, especially kids.
The commanding officer of the Ghana Navy Logistics Base here in Takoradi is the boss to AB2 Akuto, and she tells me more about her and the significance of this project that she's embarking on.
She is a diver by profession, very hardworking, disciplined, always ready to help. She's a team player, she's forceful, she always wants to learn more. So I am not surprised that she's embarking on this Waves of Hope event to raise funds to support CDS initiative. I know she can do it. She's a strong lady. She's well versed into the diving work.
I feel much happy to be the eye of the Navy and also supporting my CDS's project. So I will urge everybody watching me to put in maximum support to help our kids laugh because they need us and we need them too. How would you feel if your kid is not feeling well and how much a challenged child that you feel that every day you need to take care of? So this project will help everybody, not only the armed forces, but everybody in the nation.
Come Monday, November 17th, will be the official launch of this Wave of Hope Swimming Challenge. But on November 21st will be the actual day that AB2 Akuto, who is seeking to actually break a record of swimming 3.1 kilometers, will be on the ground to ensure that he raised the needed funds to put a smile on the faces of these challenged persons in society. For Channel 1 TV News, I'm Akwesi Jenim, Sekondi.
And this is where we wrap up this edition of the Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 TV. But before we go, let's recap our headlines. NIMOS dismantles operation of notorious Galamsey site, popularly known as Yellowface at Wasa Abresia in the Western region. Ghana Police Service denies claims of failing to provide medical care for an injured officer. Speaker of Parliament Alban Barbin calls for deliberate focus in 2026 budget to protect Ghana from recurring economic crisis. And authorities call for immediate government assistance at Newsroom Basic School in the Amansia Central District of the Ashanti region as the school reels under infrastructure and resource challenges. Do visit our website, channel1newsonline.com, for more information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to Channel 1 TV on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Channel 1 TV. Download the Channel 1 TV app on the Google Play Store and the App Store. I am Charles Osukumi. Thank you for watching.
In a world